90 people are appearing before a special court in Darlington tonight after fighting broke out before the start of the third division match between Darlington and Middlesbrough. Several hundred fans spilled onto the pitch during the trouble. Those arrested face a variety of charges, including assault and possession of offensive weapons. 7 people were taken to hospital and 1 has been detained with head injuries, but they're not serious.
Darlington's MP calls for a ban on away fans as football hooligans run riot. Conservative MP for Darlington, Michael Fallon, is pressing the Home Office to ban away fans from all football matches, following some of the worst football hooliganism ever seen in the North East. 88 fans were arrested when violence flared before, during and after Saturday's derby match between Darlington and Middlesbrough. 14 people were taken to hospital, 5 were treated for stab wounds. This afternoon, as magistrates were sentencing some of the fans involved, Michael Fallon called for urgent government action. Urban terrorism, he said, must be destroyed.
These were the scenes at Beaton's which delayed the start of Saturday's match for 12 minutes. A police video camera recorded the violence as fans spilled onto the pitch. Although there had been attempts to segregate the crowd, it's understood that trouble broke out when Middlesbrough fans got among the Darlington supporters in the North Stand. Today, police in Darlington were studying the material in the hope of identifying more of the hooligans responsible for one of the worst outbreaks of soccer violence ever seen in the North East. Cleveland police will also be viewing the tapes, looking for troublemakers known to them. Violent though these scenes were, they were only the culmination of 4 hours of running battles between rival gangs, which saw 64 people arrested before the match. The 200 police on duty in the town were kept at full, but the trouble wasn't unexpected.
We had intelligence from our own local sources and from Middlesbrough that there's a strong possibility of confrontation between the rival factions. So we deployed our police accordingly.
What about the use of weapons, Eileen?
Well, there was strong indication that offensive weapons were carried. It's the sort of disposable Stanley knife, craft knife type of thing which they carry and secrete about themselves to inflict wounds on their rivals.
Darlington magistrates sat until midnight on Saturday dealing with some of those arrested. Average fines of £150 were imposed for using threatening language. Today, jail sentences ranging from 2 months to 6 months were imposed on 3 more offenders, and other cases will be heard over the next fortnight. Darlington Supporters Club Chairman Barry Weatherall is writing to the Sports Minister urging even stiffer sentencing and more financial help for clubs with crowd control problems.
It's no good just giving them a £50 or £200 fine. You've got to really come down on these lads, and you've got to let them know that they're coming down on these lads. That's what the supporters, or if you want to call them supporters, will go around with snooker balls, flip knives, Stanley knives, ammonia in their pockets. They're not supporters. It's absolutely idiotic. Down football clubs spend thousands and thousands of pounds on safety in the ground and erecting fences against segregation. And they can't do any more. The Darlington football club can't do any more. The police are tremendous. They can't do any more. They've got to get backing from the government and clamp down these lads.
Well, I'm joined in our London studio by Darlington's Conservative MP Michael Fallon, who I believe, Mr. Fallon, actually saw some of this violence on Saturday.
Yes, indeed. We saw some of the worst ever violence we've ever seen in Darlington on Saturday afternoon. Gangs of youths fighting each other with knives, and shoppers and poppy sellers in fear of their life on Saturday.
So what do you want the government to do about it?
I think we've now got to enforce a ban on all away supporters and put an end to these gangs of thugs touring the country to fight each other with knives in our shopping centres. Luton have done it on a voluntary basis, and I think the government should now legislate to stop this kind of away support.
But won't that mean the death of football?
Clubs will lose a lot of income as a result, but then our town centre loses far more income when shops and pubs have to close, and people who've got every right to go shopping are simply too terrified even to go down into the town centre on a Saturday afternoon. So if that's the price of football, I think that price is too high.
What about the police's role in this? Were you happy about that?
Yes, I think the police coped magnificently, both at the ground and in the town centre. And I want to say that if it hadn't been for the bravery of some very young constables on the high road in Darlington on Saturday afternoon, somebody might very well have got killed on Saturday.
Mr. Fallon, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, Northumbria police say there's a growing problem of violence related to drink in the city centre of Newcastle. It followed a brawl involving holding up to 200 men in Grainy Street last night. 5 policemen were injured and 18 people are due to appear in court.
Good evening and welcome to Northern Life. First tonight, a North East MP has called for the banning of away supporters from football matches as a result of violence at the Darlington-Middlesbrough match on Saturday. Darlington MP Michael Fallon says that if it wasn't for the bravery of the police, someone would have been killed. 3 of the soccer thugs have been locked up for their involvement in the region's worst ever soccer trouble. 88 people were arrested and 19 taken to hospital, 5 with knife wounds. A report from Keith Akehurst.
Detectives began the long, laborious job of looking through 8 hours of police videotape which captured the violence before, during and after the match. The first league meeting between Darlington and Middlesbrough for 20 years. The game was delayed for 12 minutes as fighting fans spilled onto the pitch. The trouble wasn't confined to the football ground. Gangs of youths ran amok through Darlington town centre, terrorising shoppers. 80 of the arrests were outside of the ground. All police leave was cancelled and 200 officers were drafted in from all over County Durham and Middlesbrough to contain the fighting. The thugs were armed with ammonia, snooker balls and disposable Stanley knives. A special court was set up in Darlington on Saturday night to deal with offenders. Police are convinced the trouble was pre-planned, with youths hell-bent on confrontation with rival fans and police.
We anticipated trouble in the town before. We achieved results as far as the arrests were concerned, and I think that's an indication of our endeavour and determination to bring wrongdoers to court.
You've got videos of what happened. Will there be extra prosecutions as a result of that?
Well, we've got to examine the videos in great detail yet to see what they can tell us in addition to what we already know. And if there's anything out of those videotapes that indicate that other person should be brought before the court, then we shall endeavour to bring those people to court.
Those caught up in the violence say it was terrifying. Chairman of the Quakers Supporters Club, who describes himself as a fanatical football fan, says he's considering giving up going to soccer as a result.
You've got to say to yourself, is it all worth it? I mean, I come down to see a good game of football, and when you see scenes like that, it's just not worth it, you know.
What do you think of the fines that have been put out for these people?
Unless Richard Tracy, who's the government sports minister, gets his finger out and really goes to town on these youngs. I mean, if you get caught with a snooker ball or a Stanley knife or ammonia in your pocket, lock them up. I mean, there's just no other way.
Darlington MP Michael Fallon says the price of football is now too high and is urging tough new laws to enforce a Luton Town-style ban on all away supporters.
Well, this afternoon, magistrates in Darlington took a hard line with 17 people facing charges after Saturday's derby match. They locked up 3 of the accused and fined another 6, a total of £1,285. 4 others were remanded in custody for a week after pleading not guilty. The accused were all charged with using threatening words and behaviour, and the chairman of the bench, Mrs. Betty Herman, said the offences were too serious to warrant light penalties.
Well, the Bradford City League